Well, boy, howdy.
That was loud.
You good there? Oh, sorry. Well, welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and I'm joined, as always, by my host, Marcus, and special guest host, the Shadow in the corner.
It just looks like a lump of blankets.
I was going to say, to the unseasoned viewer, that looks like I'm just crazy. That's a cat. I promise you that's a cat.
There's a ghost. There's a ghoul in that corner.
She's a goblin. Oh, she lifted her head. That's terrifying. All right. While I raise the sign just a little bit. Yeah, pretty good. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, as you do.
Happy NXT.
I guess.
Wasn't a very eventful episode until like the last 15 seconds.
Yeah, the last match was pretty good. I mean, I also like the first match. I think the middle was just like a little bit like, where are we again? But, you know, can't always have beautiful episodes of NXT.
I wouldn't say it's a bad episode.
No, I wouldn't either. It would take a lot for NXT's bad episodes to be counted in the same way that I count like Raw's and SmackDown's bad episodes.
Yeah. News?
Yeah, I guess. I usually like to like go like at least 5 seconds of like the sign up.
News.
Alright.
You should just start with a news sign from now on.
Because then why don't I put this up? Also, this is, although I've done, I think, 4 podcasts now with this chair, if not more, this is the second time that I tried to sit down. I was going to sit down right on the arm. I've sent the chair flying backwards.
Nice. So glad the cat wasn't under you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cat that pees on all of our stuff.
Let's not talk about something that'll stress me out right now.
Rapscallion. Alright. I have a migraine, so I'm going to take something in about 5 seconds. Let's start with the first piece of news. John Cena's married.
Wahoo!
Weird. I didn't even know he was dating somebody, honestly. I don't even know who he married. I didn't read the fucking article.
Wonder when that contract's gonna expire.
He says that he wants to come back.
No,
I think he's kind of gold rigging it.
I'm talking about the contract they gave his now wife.
Don't worry, she doesn't have a TV show, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, he was dating Nikki Bella, right?
He was married to her, I think.
Okay.
And then, like, it all came out, I think, very shortly thereafter, like, after, like, everything fell apart. But, like, he had, like, this whole, like, list of rules. Like, he wasn't allowed to be on the TV at certain times and all this shit. And I was like, oh, boy. Shame, he's a funny little dude.
Well, hopefully, he didn't need a lawyer to start dating this person.
Yeah, well. I actually am kind of curious as to who the fuck he married. I feel like if it was a big name, it would have said, like, John Cena married so-and-so, but I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Let's see, John Cena. Okay.
Anybody? Or just himself?
Her name is Shay. S-H-A-Y. Like Shay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to butcher this, so my apologies from the get-go. Shariatsada? S-H-A-R-I-A-Z-A-D-E-H. Shariatsada.
Is she an
Shariatsada?
actress?
I have no clue who she is. I've quite literally never seen that name in my entire life.
Let's see.
And his Google has not been updated since he was last married, unless he was just dating Nikki Bella or Brie Bella, whichever. Either or.
Yeah, I don't think she's anybody famous.
I'm just interested as to how he her. Sorry, I don't speak.
Maybe it's one of
Anyway.
those fan idol situations.
Oh, you mean like Sheamus and Bella? Isabella.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just shortened that in my head because we're just talking about Bella. The Bella twins. But anyways, so he's married. That's cool. Good for him. Hope she has a better experience than Nikki, I believe.
Yeah, it was Nikki.
Yeah. Yeah, fingers crossed. Reformed man, maybe. A man, so who's to say? On top of that, Mr. Balor will be out of action until at the earliest mid-November. That is 6 weeks. WrestleTalk made a whole article based on a medical website's information as to how long a fractured jaw would put you out of commission, which I thought was quite funny. I thought that they had spoken to a source that was saying how long, but they were like, thanks to emedicine.net or some shit like that. And I was like, you're making an article I could have written. Okay.
What's the time span that if you can't defend your title, you have to give it up? Is it a month?
Whenever William Regal decides.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure if you were out for 8 months or something, they'd be like, yeah, no, sorry, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
But also there is a promo that kind of puts us all into a very wary light, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming up, so I don't know. So now these next 3 pieces of news are actually quite themed. They're all themed one after the other. In fact, I was able to line these up so I could segue quite simply. To start, Vince does not like Andrade.
I mean, figures.
Which is weird because Vince likes Angel Garza, and I feel like they've got very similar. Obviously, they've got similar styles. It's very luchador-esque, but also very similar fighters and very similar personalities. Yeah. If anything, the only difference is that Andrade is just a little less charismatic because he doesn't speak incredibly fluent English, which is no one's fault, really.
But that's probably why Vince doesn't like him.
What? Because people were wondering why he was left out of the draft, which is another piece of news coming up. But people were wondering why he was left out of the draft, and it came to light that Andrade was a relic of Paul Heyman's time, in that when Paul was still in charge of things, he saw him over in the luchador scene in Mexico, saw him over in Japan, said, hey, we got to get this guy. I'm in love with this dude. They brought him over, and Vince has never been that much up on him. So now it's just kind of who knows what his future is?
Mm-hmm.
That said, Andrade was left out of the draft because, in similar fashion to his girlfriend, or fiance, whichever, he is undergoing a minor elective surgery and may be out for a month or 2, I believe. So that is the reported reason.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. But that is what was reported, so...
Is that the same reason Mickie James is out?
Well... When you look at the truth of the situation, it might be. Considering neither of them are really that high on Vince McMahon's list of people that he likes.
Yeah. But to be fair, he didn't really like Aleister Black either.
Yeah, and look what happened to Aleister Black. He sucks.
Well, apparently, according to Aleister, a lot of the change that's been made to his character has been on his initiative. Yeah, he
got rid of the song on his own?
He said he's really been needing to change his character, and he proposed this new spin, kind of humanizing the character. I don't know if the song change was his idea, but the humanizing of his character is on his part.
All right, let me tell you something here. I've had a couple of drinks. That was a little mean. And I'll buy into Alistair any goddamn day. I think the problem with Alistair's character at this point is quite literally just the way it was introduced was just wrong. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, that puts a damper on the entire character, because that's how we're introduced to this character. But the intro to all that, just like the way that he just randomly was like, yeah, fuck Kevin Owens. Like, all right, no. I don't get it. Sure, whatever.
I miss the Alistair from NXT where I watched a clip from a match between him and Johnny Gargano, and he, like, it's like towards the end of the match, he has Johnny like holding him by his chin and says, I forgive you for your sins, or something in that regard, and then finishes him with a black mass.
You know, like in school, like in college or like high school, I guess, like when you had to write a paper and you remembered it like the night before and you just shoved a bunch of shit together
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, well, this will do. That's kind of what this feels like.
Yeah. I feel like the main roster kind of butchers characters. I mean, same basically happened with Keith Lee. If you completely forget about his music, he has been butchered as a character.
He's nothing.
Yeah. He's fighting Braun Strowman for no reason.
I genuinely feel like if Alistair were still in NXT, we would not have a single problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as much as I fucking hate Damian Priest, even his like sort of bullshit ass storyline isn't bad. I hate it because I think it's silly, but it's not a bad storyline.
I feel like, and I just want to touch on this real quick before we continue on. I feel like if you're Raw and you're at the point where your storyline and how you're pushing storylines is by a wrestler shouting into the void, I need someone to fight. Somebody challenge me. You got a problem. Because there was one episode where we had like 3 or 4 wrestlers do that. We had Andrade do that. We had Braun do that. We had Drew do that. We had Randy do that.
Oh.
Yeah, remember last time Randy did that? Randy said he wanted a challenger. I think that's how.
Oh yeah. Well, all I know is that in that same episode with Drew, Keith, and Andrade, it was also Natty and Lana. That's 5 in one episode, plus Randy recently. So it's like that again.
You also had there was somebody else who said it in like a different way. Seth. Seth kind of did that in the last episode, where instead of saying I want a new challenger, he said who will be the next head of the locker room. Which,
to be fair, with Seth's storyline, it kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, you're moving to a different brand. They're probably going to change some shit. Mm-hmm. Like, slowly but surely, they're going to change something. And that completely affects your storyline. So, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, again, to touch back on, back when I was, like, in middle school, writing fan fiction, and you run out of ideas. So you're like, what band have I been listening to a lot recently? Hey, their lead singer's hot. Slap him in there. Walk on, roll, baby.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what this all feels like. It's just like, who could possibly do this? Because that wipes clean everything else. And then somebody else comes in. And you're like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Because like there was apparently nobody for them to fight. And for Alistair's whole thing, after Alistair were like a semi-heel that was kind of turning face towards the end of his storyline, for him to just go ahead and be like, well, Kevin's an asshole because Kevin didn't defend me because Kevin was with his family. It's like, that's like a Corbin level heel storyline, dude.
Yeah.
You're not ready for that. You're not ready to jump into that pool right now. I don't know. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about Raw because we could probably talk about this for another 5 hours. I think this could be a separate podcast where we just criticize storylines.
Yeah, it just clicked what you were talking about Alistair. Since you made that parallel with Corbin, it seems like they're making Alistair into a chicken shit heel.
It's frustrating because it's like, it's one thing to be a heel and be like, well, you weren't there for me in my time of need. But then to make like that whole promo where it was very specifically like you were with your family instead of helping me, your friend. It's like there's a couple like major heel things to do, like full blown heel shit to do, and that is to go after somebody's family. That is like number one. Fiend's done it. I think Randy's probably done it at some point. Yeah, Randy did it with Kofi's kid. It's like, no offense, Al. Maybe you could have done this a couple of years ago. Not now. It's not now.
Real quick, I will use this as like a segue into whatever's next, even though it won't fit at all. Johnny Gargano.
Ruining my whole segue.
Oh, sorry. I just have a tweet I want to bring up whenever we can fit it in.
Does this have to do with NXT?
It has to do with a person in NXT, not about news.
Okay. So let me get through these next two pieces and then you can bring that up, because quite literally these next two pieces actually are it's like God stepped in for me here and just gave me a beautiful string. Even though we did kind of segue away from all of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
However, Charlotte teased this. I am sure it's not happening, but if it did, maybe I would lose my shit. Who's to say? Charlotte teased a faction with Andrade.
Oh, yeah. She said Poppy needs a new manager.
And I said, yeah, ma'am.
I'd love that.
I mean, I don't want to see Charlotte as a manager necessarily. I would want to see her as like a fighting manager, essentially.
She could be both. Yeah, she could be a fighting manager.
But also, like,
she could be the Seth to Andrade's buddy. Just in the good parts.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, hell yeah, brother. I'd love to see that happen. Plus, I mean, Charlotte's ring gear is so hot. Like, not, I don't want to say hot. That's a bit demeaning.
Lavish.
Her ring gear is just like, yeah, like very ostentatious. To imagine her as a goddamn manager just casually vibing it out, I was like, yeah, okay, sure, I'm down.
To be fair, Zelina has very lavish gear as well when she's manager.
But her wrestling gear isn't quite as like ostentatious.
Right.
Which wouldn't mind it. I feel like if she got a big enough push, like if she got like a Charlotte level, like Robert Roode level push, it'd be game over. It'd be game over for everyone. And finally, speaking of Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair.
Was it about his tweet saying he got struck by lightning twice? And hit by a car? He tweeted that.
Okay. Sure. It does not have anything to do with that. But also, okay. Anyways, Rick. So Theodore Long, who's, he's famous. Famous isn't the right word, I guess. He's known for having. Let me see if there's a good way to put all this. He's been a personality in the WWE for a while. He's a Hall of Famer. He's just kind of been in charge of like a lot of different fucking tag teams, and he's general manager and all this shit. Very big in WWE as far as like the non-wrestling side goes. Apparently Ric Flair called him the N-word and has never apologized for it, even in light of like recent events. Where like quite literally, even with the Boy Meets World cast, I guess the guy Will Friedle called the girl who played Angela, I think he used the N-word or used something bad and like apologized very deeply. And she was like, "Oh, it's fine, I guess." Ric Flair still is not. And Theodore Long was like, "Hey, Rick, still waiting on that one." You're shocked that Ric Flair's also used the N word, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your grandparents. Your grandparents have for sure used some kind of racial slur at some point just because of the times they grew up in. Ric Flair,
I'm gonna sit with my fingers crossed that Phyllis has never used the N word. I'm gonna sit back on that one.
but
Remember that.
Ric Flair is very much in that time, and I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing the fact that he didn't apologize for it or make up for it after the fact. It's again, it's like arguing with your grandparents about politics. You just say, "Okay, grandma," and just put them aside.
I feel like Ric Flair is one of those people where it's just like, without knowing too much about him, you see him once and you're like, yeah, that guy's definitely said a slur at some point in his life, if not yesterday.
Didn't he get trouble for something in the locker room, allegedly?
Oh, God bless. Ugh. Let's see, what has Ric Flair gotten in trouble for?
I don't want to do a deep dive because we are behind a little bit by a few minutes.
Oh, don't worry, we're not doing a deep dive. He's been arrested for road rage. He has been in trouble for business stuff, and he gave away the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt as collateral for a loan.
Nice.
He's also a Republican and endorsed Ted Cruz in the last presidential election. So, it doesn't answer any of your questions. However,
Again,
there's your deep dive into Ric Flair.
it's like it's like your grandparents.
That is my Andrade into Flair list of news pieces. Isn't that awesome? I mean, not awesome. None of that's awesome. Some of it's awesome. Charlotte Flair teasing a faction is awesome. However, the way it was Andrade, Charlotte, Rick. The news, baby! I'm a newscaster.
Now, my last bit of news, which will go into this episode of NXT, and be a little bit of a tease for the very end of the show. But Johnny Gargano 6 minutes ago tweeted, "I hate wheels." And I think that is just hilarious. It's all caps, separated by periods.
Oh.
Did you forget what it was about for a second? To be fair, by that point you had walked out of the room already.
I thought he just like didn't like. I thought maybe it was like a I hate heels, but like coded in a way. But then I was like, "But Johnny, you're a heel."
Another tease for today's episode. Drake Maverick just tweeted, "He didn't hit me. Progress." And you'll find out what that's about later in the episode. But for now, let's start off the matches and promos.
Oh, gotta change the fucking sign.
Yes, you do.
Ugh. God. I told you all I was coming back with serotonin. That was a lie. I think I'm just overtired at this point, but I'm here. And I'm ready to partay. Oh, I just want everyone to notice. I don't think I pointed this out. In addition to the new bedspread that you cannot see, we now also have a frame on the other poster. 2 frames. It's very adult of us. Now, every single thing in here that is a flat picture is framed. Oh, God. It's so much worse than I thought it was. It's even worse. That's better. All right. Matches and promos. You should see this from my perspective. That is as crooked as it fucking gets.
So, we start off, not really with a promo, not really with a match. Undisputed Era gets in the ring. They start talking for a little bit. It's Kyle, Bobby, and Roddy. No Adam today because of the broken ribs, I guess, in kayfabe. Yeah.
No thoughts.
Meanwhile, Kyle has broken teeth and he's still showing up. They're just sauntering into the ring, and Kyle gets the mic and is mad about Ridge Holland, and is putting on that same bad acting act that Bobby and Roddy had last time. Okay, you gotta be honest. The whole, like, we'll get him. We don't know what happened, but we'll get him.
Hey. Yeah. He's just mad that someone hurt his friend. Just because he's a little goofball doesn't mean it was bad acting. How dare you? How dare you, sir? My God, man.
Can I continue?
I guess.
Alright, so yeah, they get in the ring, start talking about what happened. Kyle's mad. Roddy's yelling gibberish, but it's not being picked up on the mic. Bobby's just standing.
Bobby's going.
Yeah.
The whole time.
And then Oney and Danny get in the ring for our first match, which is the number 1 contender for the NXT Tag Team title.
So apparently, in my lack of paying attention, I accidentally called this match because I typed in all caps and bolded, which is pretty much as good as a prediction gets. Literally gonna become the number 1 contenders. What I typed. So, you're welcome, I guess. Bobby Fish, yay! Albany. Love it. Mark has no support for my hometown, if you couldn't tell. So we start with Oney Boney Bananagrams versus Roddy Body. I found a little rhyme for him. They're grappling, they're snuggling for a little bit. Then I learned that there is a difference between a head scissors and a flying head scissors, which I guess I probably should have known, but it took me until today's match to figure that one out. Oney Boney head scissors head scissors is
Head scissorsed.
head scissors.
Yeah.
Um,
Gave a head scissors.
gave 1 head scissors to Roddy. Then Roddy gets up, he finally powers out, he shoulder tackles Oney twice. Oney dodges a third and gets Roddy right back into the head scissors. Danny gets in. They just kind of set to work breaking Roddy's shoulder for the most part. Roddy manages to push Danny backwards so that Bobby can tag in. Once Bobby is back in, he starts just going after Danny's shoulder, punches him in the midsection for a while, takes him down. Bobby launches himself over the ropes, and Danny avoids it entirely, sending Roddy straight to the canvas of his own volition. He manages to land on his toes, sort of, I guess, after he rolls through. And then Danny kicks him straight in the goddamn head. Roddy manages to break into the match somehow because tags don't actually count when you're fighting the Undisputed Era, I guess. Roddy just kind of jumps on in. Attacks Oney, and then Oney and Danny suplex Roddy, down onto Bobby. Then there are elbows from Oney to Bobby. They exchange blows for a little bit. Roddy finally gets in, and then Oney is just sweet Oney Boney Bananagrams is just chopping one, chopping the other, chopping the other, chopping the other.
He didn't even see Roddy get in, but he still chops behind him.
He sensed it. Then Roddy and Bobby work together to manage a double backdrop to Oney. Breezango is then revealed to be watching from a distance on a platform, untouched by the people below, the peasants, if you will. Roddy then slams Oney in the corner, begins slapping him around a bit. Bobby gets in, begins kicking the absolute piss out of Oney's legs, gets Roddy back in. There's an insecurity to Oney, and then Roddy goes to fucking town because the insecurity gets Oney down on the canvas, and Roddy wails on him like a bully after school.
Mm-hmm.
My dude had some fucking fire. Bobby gets in, they do a double backdrop to Oney. There's a kick. There's a kick to Oney's midsection from Bobby, and then an arm sub on Oney. Roddy finally checks back in, and Oney, the moment Roddy has like a foot in the goddamn ring, Oney kicks him in the fucking face, just sending Roddy down. Roddy manages to get himself back up. He rolls through some weird fucking tackle from Oney. I don't really know what it was supposed to be. As we've watched more wrestling recently, sometimes I can like see these like takedowns, and I'm like, oh, it was supposed to be this move. I guess like the closest thing I can compare to is a sunset flip, but like even there, it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Bobby then decides, hey, this is a good time to capitalize. Gets back up on the top rope and belly flops onto absolutely nothing. There wasn't even a target at that point. There was nothing there. It just was poor sweet Bobby just flattened.
Was it the first or second time?
This was the second time, I believe.
Yep.
I still love him. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay.
God, okay. Danny gets in. There's an uppercut to Roddy from Danny Burch, and then a powerbomb. Roddy manages to tag Bobby in. Bobby drops Burch over his shoulders, gets Roddy back in. Roddy tries to set up for a team offense, but Danny fights free from it. Burch then double drop kicks Undisputed Era, which was pretty cool. Oney gets in. He uppercuts Roddy. Then there's a double spine buster from Oney to Undisputed Era, and at that point I was like, okay, I get it. I understand where this is going. It's fine. Roddy is then hoisted over Oney's and Danny's shoulders to kind of make a bridge of sorts. And it looks like it's supposed to be a team offense kind of move. But I'm not really sure which of Danny or Oney were supposed to be making, like, the attack, so to speak. Because they were just both, like, holding him up. And Bobby comes in, starts punching to break up that move. Burch then sends Roddy absolutely spiraling through the air after a clothesline. There's a team DDT to Roddy from Oney and Burch. Bobby finally sticks his nose in just one last time. He kicks Oney in the head, and after kicking him in the head, that opens up a space for Roddy to do a jumping knee strike to Oney. I don't get how any of it was legal. I don't really understand how nobody got DQ'd and nobody got yelled at. But it's fine because Undisputed Era won. And I left happy, even though it was only Boney Bananagrams. I'm very sad about it. I want Oney to be fighting somebody from Imperium. I feel like that would be like a sick fucking match.
I'd want Danny to. I don't know about Oney. Oney is perfect for like the Timothy Thatcher types. The guys from Imperium are very much like Sheamus, or Cesaro.
I guess my reasoning more so is because they are slightly more technical,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it would be kind of cool to like see Oney versus Eichner, especially because Eichner's he's technical, but he's a little rougher around the edges than Bartel is.
I think I'd like to see more Oney versus Johnny.
Or Damian. Or
Damian,
Finn.
Dexter.
Yeah, that's fair.
But after that, we had a little promo featuring Ember Moon, which was just about, it was one of those like montage promos where it was like, I returned and I'd be drafted to either Raw or SmackDown right now, but I decided to go with NXT because that's where my heart is. And then I was greeted by Io Shirai, and now I want the title. And that's it. That's basically the gist of it. Exactly what you'd expect from somebody returning, who's as big as Ember Moon. And yeah, like if Andrade came back, or if Andrade went to NXT, I would expect that as well. And then after that, we have Ashante the Adonis versus Jake Atlas. No? What was before that?
We have Mackenzie or Sarah or whichever one it is, one of the blonde ones, talking about Finn Balor's injury, and then she gives basically a very like newscastery update to the fact that Finn's got the injury, and instead of vacating the title, William Regal said that they're going to give it a few weeks, which in my head a few is like 3.
Mm-hmm.
Finn's supposed to be out at least 6. Which gives me the vibe that William Regal's going to be like, well, Finn's not back. Vacate that title. Gauntlet. Because I feel like that's what he lives for.
Yeah, he does. He'll do some kind of Battle Royale type thing. Or Royal Rumble type thing.
To be fair, Reeks can get that whether Finn's back or not, as long as he's going to be back in time to be at the next takeover.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. William Regal can still get his kicks and have Finn come back. And I feel like if anyone's pulling the shots as far as fight coordination goes, it's probably Regal.
Mm-hmm.
But that does bring us to Ashante versus Jake Atlas. And mind you, the first time in a while that we have not seen Jake Atlas come out with that jacket. His little sequin jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that means anything as far as like maybe packaging him a little better. But yeah. So it's a very quick match. There's a back body drop to Ashante, and then basically the whole point of the match is that they're both very quick, very speedy little fellas. Jake tries to pull something off on Ashante, he dodges it. Ashante tries to pull something off on Jake dodges it. There's a massive fucking drop kick from Jake Atlas to Ashante, and then Ashante drop kicks Atlas. It's kind of a nothing fight. It's done a lot better than the Swerve Santos fight was done, as far as like anything you can do, I can do better or just as well. Because that was also kind of the vibe on this one. It just wasn't spoken. But Wilde and Mendoza approach the ring. Jake Atlas takes this momentary distraction to roll Ashante up to win. And there's no hard feelings because Wilde and Mendoza attack Ashante, as you might remember, in lieu of takeover, because Ashante ruined their little plans. So they attack Ashante, and then Jake flies out of the ring onto Wilde and Mendoza to break it up. They get back in the ring, and somebody throws some chairs in. Oh my god, it's Swerve, because this storyline never fucking ends. It never ends. Not once. And if I get a 6-man tag match next week, and this is not just something that's settled on 205 Live,
Is Jake Atlas even on 205 Live?
He's a cruiserweight, so I would imagine.
Okay.
But I don't even know how 205 Live works. I don't know if there's tag teams over there or not.
There's Everrise, there's Oney and Danny, and there's their versions of Enhancement Talent, because Everrise is one of the star tag teams of 205 Live. Danny and Oney, I think, are the star. Actually, no. Legato are like the star tag teams. Then Oney and Danny. Then Everrise. There might be someone else in there. But that's all I can think of. I've never watched it. I've just seen clips on YouTube. But after that match, we were left with an interview with Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, where, oh God, what happened here? What happened? What did happen? Seriously, what did happen?
The interview was pretty much basic Johnny and Candice. It was just they're mad at everyone. Johnny's mad about Johnny was mad about what happened at TakeOver. Candice was mad about what happened at TakeOver. It more or less leads into Johnny's whole fight that comes up after this. The fact that he's not getting to challenge for the North American title. The fact that Candice is like kind of being like put to the test to challenge Io again. You know.
Mm-hmm.
As you do. I was hoping that you had taken notes on that because I
watched it and had it in my mind and was like, okay, I got it. Nope.
Yeah, that was fair. What matters though is that we had Johnny versus Austin Theory right after this. Immediately there's an ankle lock on Austin Theory and then a headlock on Johnny. Johnny kicks Austin and gets him in the corner. Austin tries to do that thing where like somebody's running at you, so you jump over them with your arms on both sides of the corner, but Johnny's just like standing there like, all right, sure. Wasn't going after you in that part, but sure. So Johnny Gargano just chops the piss out of the dude. Gargano tries to pull off the Gargano escape to Austin, but Theory grabs the ropes. He tries to suplex Johnny, but Johnny escapes from the move and he throws an arm at Austin, but is caught and then hard clothesline just down to the fucking canvas, and then a moonsault onto him. Austin begins attacking Gargano with a lot of hits and kicks and whatever you fucking want Austin Theory to do, because he's not very capable of anything else besides chopping and overselling moves. Just me. Sure. Theory then sends Johnny into the bottom rope, drop kicks him. Austin is looking for the ATL, and Johnny escapes over the rope, kicks Austin in the head by the apron. Yes?
That drop kick actually is called a slingshot rolling drop kick.
I don't like that.
You know. The more you know.
It's too many words for a drop kick. You're not going to suplex me on this one, because suplex is like, oh, and that's like the Kansas City State Alabama suplex, and you're like
Kansas City State Alabama suplex.
But that's how it feels. Like they're like, I always feel like, oh, okay, there's the German suplex, there's the exploder suplex, there's the fisherman suplex, there's the belly to back, belly to belly,
dragon suplex,
and then they're like, yeah, but also here's the snap suplex, and here's this suplex, and here's this one, and I'm like, no, just call it a different goddamn move. Anyways, there is a drop kick to Johnny. And I'll leave it at that. Also, the fact that it's like either the basement drop kick or the baseball drop kick. And I'm like,
isn't it the baseball slide?
there's the basement dropkick, there's the baseball dropkick, and then there's the baseball slide dropkick. It's the same fucking thing across the board. It's just how an announcer wants to fucking say it.
Okay. So there's more in the match, right?
Yeah, there is. All right, where were we? Right, so Johnny has just kicked Austin in the head while standing on the apron. There's a spear to Austin Theory. Johnny then sends him into the rope, and Austin manages to regroup a little bit and launch Johnny into the ropes as well. Then there's a suplex to Johnny Gargano. What kind? I don't know. You can figure it out. Just make it up in your head. Johnny goes for the super kick, but Austin catches him and then sends a super kick of his own to Johnny Gargano. There's a massive fucking neck breaker to Johnny Gargano over Austin Theory's like the fucking top of his kneecap, which I was like, all right, I get it. You're overlooked. You don't need to break Johnny's fucking, what is it, like cervical spine or whatever? I don't know. There's parts of the spine. One of them's the cervical part. Oh. Anyways. Then there's a scissors kick under Johnny Gargano's jaw, and Austin Theory once again goes for the ATL, and once again fails at it. Johnny goes up to the top buckle. He is caught by Austin Theory. There's a sunset. Oh my god, I love talking. There's a sunset flip to Johnny. Johnny Gargano kicks out. Then finally, there's a successful super kick to Austin Theory, and as Marcus said while we were watching it, a buckled javelin to Austin Theory. Which I don't know how else you would explain it. So it's a very easy way to explain what happened.
You wouldn't explain it any other way.
And then Johnny Gargano just kind of like hunches over the dude and puts one arm down and pins him. It was a very bold fucking pin, and I respected that Johnny Gargano was able to do it.
And then after that, we went to a promo featuring our favorite tag team in the world, Drake Maverick and Killian Dain. Drake Maverick.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Drake Maverick comes on in what looks like a meeting room or something, or a boardroom. He's coming in hot with some fresh ideas, like marketing ideas. He's got gear ideas. He's got toy art ideas. He's got everything. And Killian's like, no. And then Drake drops that he gave them a match with Imperium. And then Killian says, "Why would you do that?" As if like his job isn't to wrestle.
It's not to wrestle Imperium.
You would think that Killian would love to wrestle. He would love any opponent that Drake could give him. But no, he's mad about it. And then so we move on after that to Aliyah versus Toni Storm, where Robert Stone.
Whoa, brother! You missed a whole goddamn match in that.
What?
And a promo.
Oh, yes, I skipped over a match even before the promo. What was the other promo?
Raquel
Held a promo?
Raquel Gonzalez was talking to the camera. All of a sudden, Rhea Ripley was like, "Hey, you want to fucking fight right now?" And I said,
I don't remember that at all. I blacked out, I guess.
"Who's sitting next to me?" And I was just like, "Oh my god."
I guess I blacked out.
Oh no. Well, folks, on Friday we'll be back with Mark's CAT scan results.
Yeah.
There was a Raquel promo. I didn't really take any notes on this, but she just kind of talked shit like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight Rhea. I don't know." They're setting up for the Halloween Havoc match that they're gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rhea down the hallway in the workout room of the Performance Center is like, "Oh, you want to fucking go?" And Raquel's like, sure. And then it's really hot because then a bunch of people have to stop them from killing each other. And I was like, oh my god, chaos and hot women. How do we do this?
So you want to start talking about Shotzi versus Candice?
Yeah, sure. Speaking of Halloween Havoc. Yeah, right. Let's go. So there's an arm takedown to Candice, and then step up and security to Candice. Shotzi goes to strike again, but gets strung up on the ropes. Candice tries a neck breaker while Shotzi is on those ropes. But Shotzi just refuses to go down. She just sits there. Candice then goes at Shotzi, and Shotzi avoids Candice by sending her out of the ring and kind of tumbling into the announce desk. There's a jawbreaker on the thigh to Candice, and then a second one. Candice dodges Shotzi, sending her chin first into the second buckle. There's another jawbreaker while Candice is like, this was really cool. Candice was like diving over Shotzi. It was like a jawbreaker of sorts, and then she dove back to roll Shotzi up.
Mm-hmm.
Shotzi kicked out, but it was still a cool fucking move. Very fluid. There's a suplex to Candice, and then Candice drives Shotzi face first into the post. Another jawbreaker onto the apron from Candice to Shotzi, and then a sling blade from Shotzi to Candice. A massive fucking knee strike to Candice's jaw, and then off the ropes, she cannonballs onto Candice. Shotzi then once again goes up to the top rope looking for that senton, but Candice gets those sharp fucking knees up, causing Shotzi to just kind of like bounce off. Then there's a suplex to Shotzi and a super kick. Candice manages the backstabber. She moonsaults off the ropes onto Shotzi. And then, once again, per Marcus, a butterfly submission to Candice from Shotzi, which was fucking wild. And even Wade Barrett was like, I don't know what to call that. I liked it. It looked like a good back-cracking kind of move.
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed having that happen, but it was also very weird because like Shotzi's head was on Candice's body for a minute, and I was like, Shotzi is then sent into the apron. She still managed to kick Candice in the whole goddamn face. Shotzi goes up to the top rope again, and Candice stops her. Shotzi manages to fight her off and jumps off the rope right into Candice's body. Shotzi goes up a second time. But Candice rolls out of the fucking ring. Says, I'm done with that shit. And, oh my god, who else is at the match but Indy Hartwell, who hands Candice a pair of brass knuckles. It's not like you saw this on Raw before.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in handy when Shotzi leans over the ropes towards Candice's ringside. And then Candice punches her with said brass knuckles and wins.
At least it was better than how it was done on Raw, where Nikki was punched in the stomach and was knocked out by that. Here, Shotzi was punched in the noggin and knocked out, so it made more sense.
True. So we're skipping over the Drake and Killian promo because we talked about this. But it is also important to note with that Drake and Killian promo, Drake's proposed name for them is the Furry and the Fury.
So wait, who's the Furry? I assume that's Killian?
Yeah.
Unless Drake is telling us a little bit about himself.
Well, would you be shocked?
Not necessarily.
But this does lead into the Robert Stone coming out with Aliyah. And, you know, we haven't seen Aliyah in a hot minute. But her match is against the returning Toni Storm.
So glad
which, you know.
So glad she's being used as enhancement talent now.
There's so many women down there. Why can't she just fight one of them? Anyways, Aliyah's match is against Toni Storm. She's just returned. You know how this is going to end. It's if you're watching this podcast and you didn't watch NXT, you get to go into this match the same exact way we went into this match, which was, you're really stupid if Toni Storm fucking lost.
Mm-hmm.
So Toni Storm chops at Aliyah and then kicks her down to the canvas. She drop kicks Aliyah. Aliyah drop kicks Toni in the corner. There's a neck breaker to Toni, and then an arm drag to Aliyah, and then another takedown to Aliyah. Aliyah manages to kick Toni in the midsection a couple of times, but then Toni drops her. I think she drops her twice. And then manages a German suplex on Aliyah, power bombs her. Oh my god, Toni won. After 5 seconds in the ring. Welcome back, I guess.
Perfect. But after that, we have an interview with William Regal, where he's asked about Finn Balor and what's gonna happen with like the title and everything. What?
No, he was asked about Candice and how he was upset about how that match ended.
Oh, right. And he's like, well, you know what? I'm sticking by my word. She will face Io. Yeah, she'll face Io at Halloween Havoc, but the stakes will be higher. And wasn't specific at all, but basically ended with that. And then he was asked about Finn Balor and that whole situation, and he said, "Well, just keep an eye on it in the coming weeks, and then go from there, basically." And then Xia Li comes on in with her new manager, I guess, Boa.
Boa.
And Xia Li is really is like begging William Regal, "You got to give me someone to fight. You got to give me someone, please." And Boa also asked her that, or asked William Regal that too. And Regal's just like, "Okay, I'll see what I can do." And that's that. So maybe they're giving Xia Li a push, similar to what they've been giving Shotzi. Because Shotzi also used to be enhancement talent. So we'll see. NXT loves pushing enhancement talent. Look at Ashante the Adonis right now.
I mean, look at Leon Ruff. So first of all, I really didn't understand why they were like, "How do you feel about the Candice and Shotzi result?" Because at first I was like, "Well, why? The referee didn't do anything wrong." And then I remember the brass knuckles, and I was like, the Xia Li thing's really confusing me. I wonder if they're gonna have her fight Toni Storm or something, maybe at Halloween Havoc. I know that Xia Li also said something else in addition to saying like, I need a match, like I really need one. And William was like, "I'll think about it," and she's like, "No, I mean I need it," and he's like, "And I mean I'll think about it. I don't fucking know what you want." But she said something else, and I didn't understand her when she was talking.
I don't know.
And I don't get this storyline.
He's probably gonna put her up with Aliyah. That way it's two singles, because otherwise it would be Casey and Kaden. But that's a tag team, and it might be a little weird come Halloween Havoc. It might be Xia and Aliyah. You can put Aliyah up and Robert up in a storyline, and then suddenly you've got the opening match for Halloween Havoc. You've got the opener right there.
Why not Toni though? It's like Toni's just coming back, so why wouldn't they maybe like give her that pay-per-view spot plus Xia Li?
Because I think
if they're pushing Xia Li, then you would think that would be a good push.
I don't think they're quite pushing Xia right now. I think Toni's too big for Xia. That would be like immediately giving her Ember Moon to fight, or giving her Io Shirai to fight, or Rhea. I think Aliyah is like the perfect place for her, to where they can give her a storyline but not quite give her a title push. I think it's a storyline push, not a title push.
All right, that's fair. I just want to know what the storyline is here.
Yeah, I'm really curious how Boa's gonna play into the whole thing. I think the contrast between him and Robert Stone, if they do go down the Zaya Aliyah train, would be a little interesting. Considering Robert Stone is very like extravagant, or not extravagant, but clumsy, I guess is a better name for it.
Flamboyant.
Flamboyant. Meanwhile, Boa seems very stern, very professional. So I think that
Straight-laced.
yeah, that comparison's going to be very interesting if we do even get that. I hope we do.
I think the thing is, it's like, even like one like 2-minute promo where it's like Xylee talking to Boa or something, even just that would have made me feel a little more like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And to be fair, maybe it's something that like someone who's been watching wrestling for like 5 years consecutively is like, oh, I bet this is what they're doing, and maybe we're just like fools.
Mm-hmm.
But I need a little trail of breadcrumbs right here. I'm like Hansel and Gretel. I need like a little something.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like one little peppermint, and I'll follow that trail. But yeah. Then after that, we have Imperium versus Killian and Drake. While I was typing my notes, I almost called them Triumph.
Triumph?
I think it's because the IUM, my brain was just like Triumph, and I was like, sure.
That's the knockoff Imperium. That's
Brizango Imperium.
That's the Wales Imperium. Or the
Aww.
Australian Imperium.
So Imperium versus Killian and Drake. Killian decides he's starting. He just flat out, it's like, yeah, no, this is my turn. Sends some elbows to Eichner and then a spine buster to the old man. Killian tags Drake in, somewhat willingly, and launches him somewhat unwillingly onto Eichner.
He tagged him in so he could use him as a weapon.
Right. Then they team clothesline Eichner, but Eichner is then alone with Drake Maverick and just takes him the fuck down to the canvas. Eichner plants Drake in the corner, tags Bartel in, and then there's an uppercut to the poor little chihuahua. Drake gets in the... So I referred to him the entire time because I know how to type that without looking at my keyboard. Much easier than I know how to type Drake. The amount of times I almost wrote D-Rack because my brain is just like, letters are close to each other here. Anyways. So then Drake is in the corner, Eichner is in, and he charges Drake. And Maverick manages to kick him in the jaw. He gets his legs up just in time to smack him in the face. Bartel manages to tag in, but Drake sends him right out of the ring. Eichner then gets in and tries to stop Drake from tagging Killian in, but Killian's got long-ass arms, and Drake's a shifty little bitch, so Killian gets in and just starts taking on both Eichner and Bartel at the same time. There's a spinebuster from Eichner to Killian somehow. I don't even know how this fucking happened, actually. Looking back on it, I was like, you're so much smaller than Killian, though. How? Then there's a suplex to Eichner from Killian. Killian, this time, incredibly willingly. It was his own goddamn choice, and it was not to use Drake Maverick as a weapon. Killian tags Drake in, and I said, friendship? Okay. So Drake then takes Eichner, takes his little leggies out. Bartel pulls Killian off the apron so Drake has no one to tag in, sends Killian into the steel steps. Drake goes off the top rope but is caught by Eichner and then suplexed. Then there's the Imperium implosion from the Imperium fellas to Drake Maverick. So Imperium wins. Killian, who has just kind of vanished at this point, has now left Drake all alone in the ring. Everrise somehow, I was looking at my notes, just apparate into the middle of the fucking ring to taunt Drake Maverick. And then they push Drake Maverick around a bunch, and all of a sudden Killian Dain comes out of nowhere to take Everrise out and screams in Drake Maverick's face, "Nobody hits you but me." And I said, this is probably wrong of me, but best friends?
Yes, that is absolutely right. Best friends.
And I typed 5 seconds before this even happened, after Killian took Everrise out and before he said his line, I said, Killian's like, only I get to punch Drake Maverick, and that's why he stepped in. And then Killian Dain was like, you're right. I was like, I wrote the fucking script, you bitch! I'm not gonna get over this tag team. This is like even better than Nia and Shayna.
And now you want to run us to our next and last fight of the night?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about this fight, actually. Have you ever seen a man kip up twice in one match, and both times I'm looking at my fucking notes so I goddamn miss it? A man that I love with all my fucking heart.
Yep. There was a point in the fight where Dexter Lumis kips up the first time. I tell Liz, "Oh, you just missed him kip up. Sick kip up." It was. And she says, "Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I want to go see it." So she tries to rewind Fubo. Tries to go back about 30 seconds. Freezes like the whole Fubo player. And we're left sitting there for like 10 minutes. Until she decides to move it forward again, and suddenly Dexter Lumis is on the ropes. Holding Damian's hand.
Damian was on the ropes, you fool.
Okay,
It was vice versa. Second of all, Fubo was straight up just like, you thirsty bitch, fuck you. Sit the fuck back on the futon. I was like, that's fair. That's fair. You're right. So I just went onto YouTube and I looked up Dexter Lumis kips up and I found a video, so I was satisfied for at least a moment.
Yeah, you said, maybe God will step in soon. And I said, I think this is him stepping in.
That's been, I don't know why, but that's been my new thing. I think ever since baseball fell apart for me, I was like, God needs to step in. God will step in. I'm sure God will step in. I've never been a religious person, but that's been my new thing. And every time I say that, sometimes good things happen. And then sometimes God also steps in and he's like, no, honey. And I'm like, oh, that's fair, I guess. He's discerning. He's discerning. All right. Dexter Lumis versus Damian Priest. If you thought Dexter Lumis was going to win this match, you're probably senile. I'm very specifically talking about myself.
In what world did you think Dexter Lumis would win this? From
in the perfect world that I live in, that Damian Priest does not also exist in.
A last-second announced title match. You're a fool.
In a man's shoes, I know. So, Dexter Lumis versus Damian. My sweet boy. Alright, so Damian drops Dexter Lumis. There's a kip up from Dexter. No, I didn't see it. Yes, I want to die. That is in my notes. Then, off the top ropes, Damian Priest crossbodies onto Dexter Lumis while holding his little hand, which I'm sure gave Dexter Lumis a bit of a thrill. Like, best friends, yay. Dexter then jumps over Damian, ends up socked in the goddamn jaw by Damian. And then Dexter does my newest favorite move, which is somebody runs at him and Dexter Lumis just tackles them. Like a fucking rabid raccoon. Just yeets.
Spear?
I'm like, it's not even a spear because he's also facing like straight ahead. He's just like, whoop. You're like, Dexter? That's weird. It's like the Puma tackle, the crossbody tackle, or whatever the fuck it is.
Puma tackle.
Except it's quite literally the Puma tackle because it's just straight up.
Is it actually named the Puma tackle, or did you name it that?
I called it that.
Okay, why the Puma? Why Puma?
Well, because it's that thing where it's like, it's kind of like a crossbody and then like they roll over. And I'm like, that seems like what a Puma would do.
Have you seen a Puma?
Mm-mm.
Do you know a Puma to do that?
I imagine that they're pretty mean. One tackling a person.
They also suplex, in case you didn't know. Sometimes they even go for a chokehold. I've even seen one go for a figure 8.
Only in the PCW, baby.
Oh, our viewers don't get that.
It's championship wrestling. It's all cats all the time.
Oh.
I did, however, grow up in an area where there were occasionally, I believe, and I could be totally wrong, bobcats?
Oh yeah, there are bobcats around where I live.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Not a good vibe. You got a small animal. You don't leave them outside.
Also, for the record, we don't actually have a cat fighting ring. For those who might take this out of context or haven't tuned into the podcast before, we do not have a cat fighting ring. We do not have a cat fight club, cat wrestling club, any of that. We don't. Animal cruelty.
Go Pete's. Nothing. She's out. She's out for the count. The only rule of Pepita Championship Wrestling is that Pepita has to win. And about right now, I think somebody's about to take that fucking title from you, Pete's. Nothing.
I'm gonna
This is
come in
not
and
a
take
fighting
it.
champion.
I'll wrestle her. Oh, she's up. Liz?
Whenever I pet her and she doesn't move immediately, I'm always just like, she's dead.
Glad we took that little break.
And I had to poke her nose. She didn't wake up when I pet her the first time, so I was like, wait, no. She's mad. She's mad at me now, but that's fine. All right. Anyways, now that we've gotten the Puma tackle out of the way, Damian kicks Dexter Lumis' injured ankle. The thing about that is that Dexter Lumis actually quite literally injured his ankle, so I'm just like hoping that maybe Damian's attacking the one that wasn't actually injured.
I mean, based on a certain thing Dexter says, I don't think that it was. Remember when he shouted the hard F-bomb?
Okay.
I think that was a real reaction.
I love him. Anyways, I'm really hoping that we're not going to go like another 8 months without fucking seeing Dexter Lumis. That's the least I can hope for right now. So then there's a kick to the side of Dexter's head and a broken arrow to Dexter. Dexter slams Damian into the steps and then once again slams him into the fucking steps and slithers back into the ring to restart that goddamn count. Wish he wouldn't, but I also love it. The fact that he's able to drag his whole upper body is kind of impressive to me. Just to not see like the legs moving at all is very spooky, and I don't care for it. Damian then slams Dexter face first into the apron off the ropes, and then there's a Superman punch to Dexter Lumis. They don't call it a Superman punch, but I'm not letting Damian get away without. Going to say, I'm not going to let Damian get away with doing a Superman punch without me calling him out on it. Because Dexter Lumis then just begins hauling off on Damian. Pulls off a massive fucking facebuster to Damian as well. He does this creepy little like roll over to Damian up into the corner, and gets caught by the throat. Damian's looking for the sounds of heaven, but Dexter Lumis avoids it and slams Damian into the canvas. Lumis goes to choke Damian, but Damian fights free of it and launches Dexter into the canvas, kicks him in the face, and then pulls off a flatliner. Damian begins attacking Dexter Lumis's ankle, and Dexter looks like he's in a little bit of pain, and then all of a sudden Dexter Lumis, thank God for the 5-second delay, because Dexter Lumis screams out the loudest F-bomb I think I've ever not heard. My dude said, that $500 fine, take it away. I don't care anymore. My sweet lad. My sweet, sweet lad. Dexter breaks free of this ankle lock and then gets the stupid goddamn fucking bell clap into his goddamn ears. I hate that move.
It's the worst move.
I'd rather see a Superman punch.
Yeah, like, it doesn't make contact in any way whatsoever.
Like, I'm pretty sure if you personally reached around my head and clapped in front of me, I'd just be like, why would you do that? That was just uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like,
my ears!
Fuck! We can test that out when you learn how to suplex me as well. I'd quicker let you test out the bell clap than a suplex on me, actually. One time, Mark, because I was complaining, I've told this story twice, I think, on the podcast now, but once I was complaining, I was like, I don't really understand how the full Nelson would hurt so much. Because it kind of looks like a nice stretch for my old bones. And Mark tried it out on me just to kind of like give me an idea of what it would feel like. Because I'd asked him like 40 times. And our cat just like watched us and she was like, and just ran away. She was like, I'm out. I'm next, I'm sure.
Oh.
It was so weird because like she's seen us acting weirder, and that she was like, I recognize that wrestling move from my days in the PCW. I'm getting out of here now before my title is challenged. Anywho, I'm just gonna hold my chin nonchalantly while I get through the rest of this fucking match. Anyways. Dexter avoids a powerbomb and then slams Priest down onto his spine. There's another kip up, and hey, guess what? I was looking at my fucking notes for that one too. I'm just not destined to see it.
Well, you did see it.
I didn't see the kip up.
You saw a video of it.
Not live. Anyways. Dexter attempts to senton Damian, but Damian rolls away. There's a clothesline to Dexter Lumis. Dexter is going for the good old sleeper hold. Doesn't work. Dexter sends Damian into the chain link. Sorry. I was trying to remember the word for that. And then after that, guess who fucking attacks? Mark, would you like to tell us who fucking attacks in the middle of this goddamn fight to give Damian Priest the win?
To the moon!
Cameron Grimes attacks Dexter Lumis, giving Damian the chance to pull up the sounds of the South of Heaven. Sorry, two moves that have about the same amount of words and starts with SOU. The South of Heaven may have been the Sons of Heaven, actually. I don't really know Damian Priest that well. And, well, he wins. Boy, howdy, here we are. Then Johnny Gargano comes out and starts attacking Damian, I believe.
Well, no, first Cameron starts attacking Damian as well.
Oh, okay.
And then Johnny comes out with a chair and attacks Damian, and then stands over him like he's triumphant. Candice then walks out. And William Regal then comes out and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you guys, all right, I see you out here, but, Johnny, you're challenging Damian for the title again, this time at Halloween Havoc. We're going to have to raise the stakes a little bit. And we will turn to our host of Halloween Havoc, Shotzi, for that." And so Shotzi rises up to some weird podium that they just introduced, some like stage that they now have, and she has a wheel behind her, which will determine the stipulation or maybe punishment of the matches. So I gotta be honest, I am excited now because of that. And Johnny apparently hates wheels.
One of the options is Boiler Room Brawl, which I think sounds very just strange.
That sounds
I also
scary.
believe that this is going to, yeah. It's also going to determine the stipulation for Candice and Io's match, I believe.
Yeah, it's both of theirs.
Because, William said it's going to determine the fates of both of your matches. But it was funny because before William came out, after I saw John, like, I left the room at the time. But when I came back, oh, Lord. My battery's about to die. But when I saw what was happening, I was like, William Regal's just sitting backstage like, Battle Royale? Gauntlet? I don't know. What can I do here? And the moment I said that, all of a sudden I just see William Regal walking out, and I'm like, my dude loves a good fucking stipulation.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing William Regal's like, yes, over, it is 100% a good stipulation. He loves a good stip. And I respect that.
Who doesn't?
I also think that William Regal's out of his goddamn head, but I love it. I love it for him. It fits him.
But yeah, that's our show. That's the event today. That's the episode. It's not the end of our show. We still got a little more. We've got our best of the night, which are coming up right now.
Mark's trying to end us early. We're making good time. We're an hour and 47 minutes in, more or less.
An hour 35.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Any day now.
All right. Oh dear.
All right, so bests. let me sit up for this. Bests of the night. Let's start with the best promo. So we started off with the Ember Moon promo. Nothing special, just the return. I'm back. Here's why I'm back. Here's what I'm gonna do now that I'm back. Promo. Then we had the interview with Johnny and Candice, which was great. Didn't give a whole lot. Just said Johnny mad. That was really it. And then we had Drake and Killian. And Drake's amazing ideas for their tag team. I love this tag team so much. I love what they're doing with it, and I love every promo that they're in. And then we had Raquel and Rhea, which I didn't pay attention to or blacked out for or something. And then we had the interview with William Regal, which was very strange, but also I'm vibing with it. I'm interested. Regarding Xia Li and Boa. But I gotta give the promo of the night to Drake and Killian.
Yeah. They're my boys. I like them.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so now fighter of the night. So we started off with Undisputed Era versus Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch. You might not like... What was that?
Bony bananagrams.
Yes, Oney Bony Bananagrams. You might not like who I picked for this fight, but I'm gonna go with Oney Lorcan.
Oh, okay.
Oney looked amazing this fight. Roddy looked great too. Bobby just hit the mat a lot.
Bobby did so much. Bobby's the whole goddamn reason they won today. Bobby stepped in.
After Roddy had already done most of the damage.
After Roddy had taken enough goddamn hits.
Bobby jumped off the turnbuckle.
Bobby's a hero.
Landed face. But
this is purely anti-upstate hatred. Thank you.
Anybody from any other state will be like, "What are you talking about?"
Are there upstates in other states though?
I don't think they consider that. I think take California for example. SoCal, NoCal, there's that.
I'm pretty sure traveling upstate, like from lower New York to northern New York, probably takes about, I think, 4 hours. I think if you were to travel upstate from Southern California to Northern California, I think that'd take you like at least 8 hours, 9 hours maybe?
Probably.
A whole different fucking climate up there.
But yeah, I think Oney was the best one in this fight. He looked phenomenal. He didn't have too many assists from Danny, but he managed really well, just mainly working off of himself. And he has that persona to him, that like kind of almost Timothy Thatcher persona, where he gets angry and kind of like savage a little bit, but kind of like in a comedic twist where it's like ridiculous, like it's out of a Popeye cartoon or something. I think, yeah, Oney is Popeye.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah, no, Oney's my pick for that fight. And then we had Ashante the Adonis versus Jake Atlas. And Jake Atlas flipped the most. He did the most cartwheels, I guess. There wasn't a lot here. I gotta be honest. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Ashante. I'm not sold. Oh, I don't want to say I'm not sold on Jake Atlas, but you know, he's just a step above enhancement talent right now, especially with how they've been treating him. But not to say he did poorly. He did very well today. And then we had Austin Theory versus Johnny Gargano. And Johnny looked great. He didn't look his best. He didn't look like the takeover Johnny Takeover. But he looked better than fighting a larger man Johnny. Whenever Johnny fights a larger man, he always like stoops to his heel persona. Which isn't always a bad thing, but it's less impressive than when he was fighting like Roddy or Swerve. He didn't look super amazing, but he looked great. And then we had Shotzi versus Candice, and my god, did Shotzi look incredible. Shotzi, I say this every time Shotzi is in an episode, she manages to take how great she was in the last episode and add on to it, evolve it. We're now seeing a lot more pins from her, and that what we called a butterfly submission from her. She's constantly elevating herself, and I love it. She's doing such an amazing job. And her persona matches so well with her fighting style. I think she is going to have such an amazing future, either as the NXT Women's Champion or on the main roster. Because I've said this several times now. Shotzi Blackheart will be the next NXT Women's Champion. I can guarantee that.
All right. I don't want to like flex too much disagreement because I feel like if she does get it, it's gonna be my ears for the next 5 months. So I'll exercise like a little caution on that one, but sure.
And then we had Aliyah versus Toni Storm, and Robert Stone was my pick for this fight. He did a good job. I mean, it was basically enhancement talent. I mean, there was nothing. Poor Aliyah. She used to be like, her and Robert Stone used to have like such a good story, and they were like being pushed a little bit. You could see a little bit of a push towards Aliyah. It was around like the Mercedes time in the Robert Stone brand, when Shotzi was running over Robert Stone's foot. But she's just fallen so far, and it's not her fault. I feel so bad. But I guess I gotta go with Toni Storm. And then after that we had Imperium versus Drake and Killian.
Wait. I had something to say. It's just hard because like I know that they do a really good job of writing the women's characters in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder. It's so much harder for me to be like in the same way like I would be with Raw or SmackDown, where it's like, oh, they're doing a total disservice to her character.
Mm-hmm.
That's because like Raw and SmackDown do a disservice to literally every women's character on a somewhat daily basis.
Yeah.
Whereas like I don't know why Aliyah is written so horribly right now, but it's not great. I don't know. And she was kind of high up there for a minute, and now it's just like I don't know. I wonder if they're Chelsea Greening her, honestly. And I mean, I almost hope not, because Chelsea Green's whole thing was like she was moving up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
And then we never heard from her again. She was thrown into like the dumpster, and we just stopped hearing about Chelsea. In the same way, like with the Mafia, where they're just like, yeah, I took care of this guy, and it's like he's buried in like 40 inches of cement under like a skyscraper in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, okay, I got you. She's gone. But that's how it feels.
But yeah, moving on to Imperium versus Drake and Killian. I mean, I'll go with Killian here. Because of his not just wrestling performance, but also kind of his persona, his use of Drake as a weapon, how he interacted with Drake. I think everything about him was great. I'm not going to say it's amazing because, I mean, nothing he did was super impressive. It's just the thought process behind everything was great. The writing behind it all was fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say with that. Everyone in that match was fantastic. But I think Killian just added a little bit extra. And then we had Damian versus Dexter Lumis. And I'll go with Dexter here. Dexter is always so fun to watch. He's a goddamn marvel in the ring. In his impressive, like shockingly impressive fighting style, and his character being intertwined in his fighting. Dexter is such, he somehow pulls off such like flourish in his moves, even though he isn't a very like ravishing wrestler. What's up?
I was just gonna say that like things that are just as simple as him like punching somebody, it just looks so much better than the average like wrestler punch. Because you see Dexter Lumis go in with the swing, and you see him swing through, and you're like,
and then
I mean, if you're pulling back, then you have to you would think that there would be less of a follow through.
Yeah.
But
And then with his kip ups, even he's very stiff in his kip ups, but like for his character, it's not like a Drew kip up where there's like kip up, whew, like waving his body. It's very much like kip up, I'm up, like kind of. It's
standing now.
Yeah, it's very robotic. Um, Something you'd expect from like a Swedish person in a movie. Yeah, he's always
Terminator-y.
very Terminator-esque. He's always so much fun to watch. But with all that said, my pick for Fighter of the Night is, I don't know if you'll agree, but it's Shotzi Blackheart. I can I give my reasoning for that before you think about what yours is?
I mean, I know what mine is.
If
Think about it.
if you're suggesting Dexter, my reasoning for Shotzi is because every single time we see her, she keeps adding onto her move set. She keeps diversifying herself, evolving as a wrestler. While Dexter is improving with every single match, it's not to the level that Shotzi is. And not to say that she was bad last episode and she's great this episode. No, she is fantastic every time, but consistently gets better and better and better. And tack that with her like crazy persona that is way, it's not better than Dexter's, but it's more crazy and wild and all over the place. And it fits so well with her fighting style and moveset. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't convince me. I'm more willing to go with you on it, only because my migraine medicine is kicking in and I have no upper body function at this point. Which is why I'm just going to keep spinning myself a little bit. However, while I do really love watching Shotzi week after week, and there's not a lot of times where I'm like, oh, another Shotzi match. Oh. Although, like, I never feel that way, there's just something about Dexter where it's like, when I see Shotzi outside the ring, I'm like, oh, that's Shotzi. And then in the ring, I'm like, oh, that's Shotzi, the wrestler. There's like Shotzi outside the ring is Shotzi in the ring. It's a slightly different person because it has to be. But with Dexter, it's like Dexter Lumis is Dexter Lumis. No matter what. No matter where you fucking go, it's Dexter Lumis all the way. In fact, there are so many times where like I watch him and I'm like, you gotta break at some point. You gotta. And he never does. And every single time I'm like, who are you? I just love the way he sells hits. I love the way that he is consistently capable of doing moves that I have to kind of sit back and be like, how did that not hurt somebody? And I like that in a wrestler because like I trust them to not be hurting people. But also I have to question it. I'm just like, that looks painful. Like you look like you must have damaged him in some way. It's hard. Shotzi is very much like I'm rooting for Dexter 100% and I'm rooting for Shotzi 99%. It's hard for me to break away from those two.
And they're like on opposite sides of the spectrum too in terms of persona.
Yeah. It's difficult. I don't know. I don't know how to I really like Dexter. I really do. And as much as there's never a time in my like NXT watching career where I'm like, oh, Shotzi, there's never a single time, not even once, where my brain even slightly falters to the option of, oh man, another Dexter Lumis match? Are you kidding me? He could have fought Roddy 41 times and I still would have been like, Dexter! Yee!
Well, so we are in disagreement. But if there's anybody in the chat, let us know who you think should be the fighter of the night. We'll turn to the chat, whether you think it should be Dexter Lumis or Shotzi Blackheart. If nobody responds by the time that we finish our fight of the night, I will concede and go with Dexter. Just because it does seem like a slow night.
Sponsor.
Alright, so fight of the night, we started off with Undisputed Era versus Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch. This was a good match. This was pretty good. Just happened so, like, suddenly that I'm like, wow, why are we getting this? But, you know, it was definitely really fun to watch. I think it was better than average, but not amazing. Then we have Ashante the Adonis versus Jake Atlas. Very short fight. Very, very short. Not too much here. Once Legado comes in, I just lost all interest. I lost interest from the get-go just because I have no investment in these two wrestlers. I didn't think we were going to get anything more than an enhancement talent match. But, yeah, my expectations were met. And then we had Austin Theory versus Johnny Gargano, which was a great match. Johnny with the buckle javelin was really great. I think Johnny really fused his two sides well for this match, and made me really interested in a fight against Austin Theory. Even when he's fighting somebody of that caliber, when Johnny's fighting somebody of that caliber, he's still like going all out, really impressive, not really pulling out the stops, and he always makes for a really good match. Austin Theory, on the other hand, we've pretty much seen the exact same beats from him every single fight that he's been in. Always starts with a chokehold every time. That's always how it starts out with him. And it feels like we're just watching the same thing over and over again, but not to say it's not bad, or not to say it's not interesting, because it is. It is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Shotzi versus Candice, which I loved this match. Shotzi versus Candice was a really fun match to watch. Even with the ending with Indy, I think it was a better use of the sly brass knuckles that we've seen. Shotzi is fantastic. Candice was fantastic. Their chemistry together was just so good. And I wasn't unsold by the ending. I didn't think it was horrible. And then we had Aliyah versus Toni Storm, which was just enhancement talent. We had Imperium versus Drake and Killian, which was fun, but I don't think it was anything super notable to write home about. Not as good as Killian and Drake versus Everrise, even though I can't stand Everrise. I think that was a better match than this. And then we had Damian versus Dexter. Really fun match, really good. It had that interruption from Cameron, which was basically the same thing as Indy jumping in. But there was something about Cameron jumping in as opposed to Indy jumping in that turned me off to it. I think it was because Cameron directly attacked Dexter, and Dexter was suddenly fumbling around like a cartoon character. Meanwhile, Indy just passed along some brass knuckles. Candice was still the one who got the victory. She was still the one to deal the finishing blow. And yeah, I think both of these matches were kind of on the same like grade. I think they were both great. But the ending of the Shotzi and Candice one just convinced me a little more than the Damian Dexter one. So my fight of the night, I'm gonna go with Shotzi versus Candice.
I'd give it to you.
Okay. All right.
Only because as much as like a good Dexter fight, the Shotzi Candice fight had a little more storyline behind it, and that I think put it over the edge for me.
Yeah.
Just because there are two very viable candidates for the women's title, so
And to add on, Damian, if you're comparing the opposition, Damian and Candice, I enjoy watching Candice fight a lot more than Damian. Damian, I don't think is a very impressive wrestler, especially how he was performing today. How he was performing against Timothy Thatcher was excellent, but he wasn't at that same skill level today.
yeah. I mean, even without like judging the skill level per se, it was just this could have been my fight of the night, I think, if there was just like a little more like promo even to like line it up, because I understand why Dexter would be going after this title.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole reason that he was out.
Yeah.
So it was a fair shot. I just think that they should have done like one promo, just one, where Damian could have been like, I'm kind of like, I know Dexter wants this, and like he's never gonna get it, or some shit like that. And then we could have gone to this fight, and I would have been like, story, I get it.
Yeah.
But like it took me a minute, like it took me a full minute when I was watching to be like, why aren't we doing? And then I remembered. But it's been like a month now. And it's like, guys, I need like that little just context.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as I hate to vote against it, I preferred Shotzi and Candice for the storyline.
And regarding fight of the night, I am conceding and going along with you with Dexter Lumis.
See, we each get something. We each get something here.
So,
it's fair.
To run it back, our promo of the night, Drake Maverick pitches ideas. Fight of the night, Dexter Lumis. Fight of the night, Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae.
All right, wait.
Huh?
I said, all right, Wade.
Oh, I thought you said, all right, wait.
No.
So you want to close us out here?
Yeah, I guess I'll close this out. Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I have heartburn. If you tuned in tonight, thank you. If you did not tune in tonight, but you're still watching this, thank you, because somehow you tuned in. Sooner or later, you did. You can't deny it. I won't let you deny it.
What are you talking about?
Hi. Anyways, thank you for watching, whether it's present times or future times. And thank you to our special guest host, as always, the lump on the back of the bed, Pepita. Please tune in every Tuesdays and Thursdays for Pepita Championship Wrestling, where you'll learn what a Puma tackle is. You'll goddamn learn what it is. Please tune in on Friday for SmackDown season premiere. Season premiere SmackDown, the new season. It's starting. All new characters. I love calling it the season premiere. Yeah, so tune on SmackDown. Mark and I will be incredibly full from a delicious barbecue dinner. And yeehaw, cowpokes. I don't fucking know.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, please hit that follow button below. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and comment. Let us know what your favorite match of NXT is, whether it's tonight, this whole year, this month, forever. What's your favorite match? Let us know down in the comments. And if you're watching on Twitch, go to the YouTube video and comment there who you think your favorite NXT fight is. And follow our Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. Remove the, and that's a Twitter. And follow our personal Twitters. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast on YouTube. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll be back on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown.
The logo on the YouTube is not the same as this one. We will never change it. I am almost positive of that. Thank you.
Yep.